Chapter 19 Funville. The fairy gave Pinocchio permission to go around town and give out the invitations for the special breakfast. "I promise to be back in an hour," the puppet said. "Be good, Pinocchio," the fairy said. "Why should I?" Pinocchio asked. "Because boys who don't listen to the advice of those who know better always end up in trouble," she said. "I know that," Pinocchio said. "I'll never make that mistake again." "We'll see," the fairy said. In less than an hour, all of his friends were invited to the breakfast. All but one, that is. His name was Candlewick, because he was so thin and tall. Candlewick was the most lazy and most naughty boy in school. Pinocchio was especially fond of him. After going to his house 3 times, Pinocchio found Candlewick waiting for a coach. "Where are you going?" the puppet asked. "I'm going to Funville," Candlewick said. "Why don't you come with me? It's the best place for boys. There are no school teachers and no books. No one there ever studies. Every day is a day off, and holidays begin with the first day of January and end on the last day of December. Doesn't it sound great?" "I don't know," Pinocchio said. He shook his head. The idea sounded good to him, but he wasn't sure. "Will you go with me?" Candlewick asked. "Hurry up and make up your mind." "No, I can't. I promised the fairy I'd be good, and I'll keep my word. I must return home at once." "Have a good journey, Candlewick," Pinocchio said. Pinocchio took 2 steps, stopped, and then turned back. He asked, "Are you really certain that every day is a day off?" "I am certain," Candlewick said. "You're sure that all holidays begin on January 1st and end on the last day of December?" Pinocchio asked. "I am sure," Candlewick said. "What a great place Funville is," Pinocchio said with a dazed look on his face. "I mean, goodbye. Have a very pleasant journey," Pinocchio muttered. "Bye," Candlewick replied. "I'll be going soon." Nighttime had come, and it was already very dark. In the distance, Pinocchio and Candlewick could see a small light moving. They heard talking noises and the faint sound of a trumpet. "It's here!" Candlewick shouted. "What is it?" Pinocchio asked. "It's the coach to Funville. Now will you come, Pinocchio?" Candlewick asked. "Is it really true," Pinocchio asked, "that boys never have to study in Funville?" "That's right, never," Candlewick said. "What a wonderful place," Pinocchio said with glee. The coach was drawn by 12 pairs of donkeys. Each donkey was a different color, but the oddest thing about these donkeys was that they all wore men's shoes. The coachman was a flabby little man with a small round face. He was always laughing. All of the boys loved the coachman as soon as they saw him. They all wanted to get in his coach and go to Funville. The coach was full of boys between 8 and 12 years old. They were all piled on top of one another. No one cared. They were so happy to be going to a land where they had no school teachers and no books that they just went on their own way without a care in the world. When the coach reached Candlewick, he jumped on board, but Pinocchio still wasn't sure if he wanted to go. "I'll stay here," Pinocchio said. "I'm going to study and learn like good boys do." "Pinocchio," Candlewick called out, "we'll have so much fun." Pinocchio sighed. "Make a little room for me. I'm coming too," he finally said. Pinocchio had to sit on one of the donkeys, so he went to the first pair and tried to climb up onto one, but all the donkeys kicked Pinocchio over. All the boys began to laugh. The coachman approached the unruly beast. He pretended to kiss him, but he actually bit off half of his ear. Then he said, "You can climb on now without any fear. I've had a little talk with our donkey friend. I'm sure he's gentle as a lamb now." Pinocchio mounted the donkey, and the coach started moving. While the donkeys galloped and the coach rattled over the stones, Pinocchio thought he heard a whispering voice. "You always follow your own way. Well, you'll be sorry for it," it seemed to say. Pinocchio looked from side to side to see where the voice was coming from. There was no one there. They arrived at Funville at dawn. The population was made up only of boys. Everyone was having a wonderful time. There were all kinds of merry noises and shouting as groups of boys played everywhere. Pinocchio, Candlewick and the other boys who had just arrived in the coach had barely set foot in town before they were totally caught up in its activities. Where could you find more content boys? For 5 months, Pinocchio enjoyed a carefree life in Funville. Every day was filled with fun and amusement. Every time he saw Candlewick, he thanked him for bringing him there. The days were spent doing nothing but playing. No thoughts of school teachers or books ever entered Pinocchio's wooden head. But one day, something happened that upset him very much.